Om Nilambujasyam Komalangam Sita Samaropita Vamabhagam Panavu Maha Sayakacharu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvanshanatham. Om. Adorations to Lord Rama, whose complexion is like a blue lotus, very tender and delightful in appearance. Sita is seated on his left side. He's carrying a powerful bow and arrow in his hands. Shri Ramcharitmanas by Swami Tulsidas, Ayodhya Kanda, and we are moving towards the verse number 34. And at this stage, in a storyline, King Dasharatha has heard the two boons that Kaikeyi wanted to ask. Kaikeyi has already expressed her two boons, two fingers. And the impact on King Dasharatha is beyond imagination. Very frustrating, shocking. You must realize at this stage, profound in spiritual wisdom is presented through karunya ras. Karunya means pathetic feeling. Just to remind you of rasa, the 9 rasas. When you hear the artist who presents the story tries to mix up 9 sentiments. This is the psychology that captures the masses. If you deprive them of any of those 9, it is not complete. Karunya rasa. Karunya rasa is pathetic. But somehow from ancient times, when people looked for going to a film or a cinema, they always first try to know if something pathetic is going to happen or not. If it is happening, it's a wonderful film. Let's go there. It catches your attention. So, next type of rasa is adbhut. Adbhut means something surprising, wonder. Wonder strikes your heart like your mind like a lightning. Wonder. There was a wonder struck. Next type is called adbhut. Adbhut means surprising. Next one called hasya, humorous. Next one called bhayanak, terrifying. Next one called vibhats, disgusting. Next one called raudra, furious. Last one, shant, peaceful. If you want to be literary pundits, learn to express in your literature all these sentiments. And that's what the art adopted in Puranas Tulsidas has adopted it in a very profound way. So, profound philosophy is being presented in the colorings of pathetic sentiment. Coming back to the main topic, philosophically, it is a profound development in spiritual movement that soul becomes interested in maintaining two movements, bhakti movement and jnana movement. These are the two fingers. Kaikeyi is two Bardhan, two boons where may her son Bharata be the ruler in Ayodhya, and Rama to go into forest. But Rama always stays with Lakshmana, and Bharata stays with Shatrughna. Rama is jnana. Jnana is always with dhyana. Dhyana and jnana, they go together. They must follow their role in your spiritual evolution. And bhakti and karma, Shatrughna is remover of gross impurities, anger, greed, etc. The more these gross impurities remove, greater is your devotion to God. So two aspects of sadhana, one presented by Bharata, another presented by Rama. They were the two boons. Kaikeyi is vichar movement, a profound operation of reflection, reflecting upon what is best for a spiritual movement. And Kaikeyi's movement is commended and recommended and agreed upon by gods. That was the whole story. Rama was going to be coronated. Everyone was rejoicing. But when they heard it, they were in trouble. They had to work hard to convince Saraswati Devi, who found it hard to operate through anybody. Everybody was so happy, except Manthara, who became a channel for Saraswati Devi. Through Manthara, Saraswati Devi created a whole Rang Me Bhang. So you must realize behind all this tragic scene, God's plan is operating. And God's plan is really the best. So with that, let me go on with this story. Laki Naresa Bata Puri Sachi Tia Misamichu Sisa Paranachi. The king, in the beginning, thought that what she is asking is kind of a joke. But at this stage, he comes to realize that it is Sachi, it is real. And turned his attention to look at his own personality, that time for my death has come. And death is coming in the pretext of this woman, Kaikeyi. Gahi pad vinay kinha baithari, jani din kar kul ho sikuthari. He wanted to plead, so See, he held on to the feet of Kaikeyi. It has been always the other way around, but this time he held the feet of Kaikeyi and pleads, "Oh dear one, do not become like an axe for cutting down this tree of solar rays. You must realize, if you are studying on a profound level, this is what is the best thing to do. The purpose of the solar rays is to cut down the tree of the world process. But the idea, when you hear cutting down the tree of the world process, for normal mind it is a shocking statement. King Dasharatha expressing the reaction through a normal mind. So it is very pathetic. Magu matha abhi demu tohi, Rama birah jani marasi mohi. Ask my head and I will give to you. But do not kill me by separating me from Rama. The actual point is, it was not going to be separated. Rather, Kaikeyi's method was to bring Dasharatha closer to Rama than he imagined. His soul, Dasharatha's soul, is that state of soul where the soul has become enriched by good karmas to such an extent that the goal is liberation. So therefore the soul brings out children. Children are another stage. That stage of development, as Rama starts moving, Dasharatha fades away. Just like consider yourself, your own personality as when you are a child. Now there comes a time that child personality must move away. Grown-up personality must start. King Dasharatha says, we follow now the storyline, and in the storyline, Kaikeyi is being painted as the worst woman ever history has produced. So enjoy that patheticness. So Dasharatha says, pleadingly, bowing his head at her feet, "Do not let me die due to separation from Rama. Rakhu Rama kahu jahi tehi bhanti, nahit jarihi janam bhari chhati." Let Rama stay, don't send him into the forest. He had no problem with Bharata being the ruler, but let Rama stay also. If you don't do so, throughout your life, your heart will be on fire. Dekhi vyadhi asadha nipu, Paryudharani dhuni maat, kahat param arat bachan, Rama Rama Raghunath. King saw this disease of Kaikeyi is chronic, cannot be cured. In great distress, he started saying, Haram, Haram. And putting his hands over his head, beating the head, he fell down on the floor. Vyakul rao shithil sabagata, karini kalpataru manahu nipata. King was afflicted with grief. His entire body became shithil, as if in a state of loss of vitality. As if a she-elephant has shaken off a big kalpaka tree. Kalpaka tree is a magic tree that can grant any desire you want. And with great effort you acquired the tree, but put it in a place where a she-elephant came up and just scratched the back against the tree. Twice the scratch, and the whole tree fell down. Kantha sukha mukha avana bani, janupatinu dina binupani. King Dasharatha, his throat dried up. Words would not come out from his mouth. He was like a fish that has been taken out of water and is struggling. Punikah katu kathora kaikei, manahu ghayamahu mahur deyi. And Kaikeyi again uttered harsh words, which appeared to him like she was putting poisonous material over a blistering boil. You have already a boil, and someone is, instead of having any compassionate look at it or treating it, brings out something that excites that. A little salt, it does that sometimes. Jo antahu asakarta buraheu, mangu bangu tum kehi balataheu. If that was what you wanted to do, implying that your Raghukul, this whole line of kings in the solar line, famous for keeping up their word, and now you are going to give up your word. If that was your intention, then why did you give me? Why did you tell me, mang, ask, and I will give you? Dui ki hoi ek samay bhuwala, hasab tathai phulau bagala. O king, can two things happen at the same time? One, you want to laugh, ha ha ha. Another, at the same time, swell the cheek. You do one thing at a time. And behind that is a profounder meaning. If you attain God realization, move towards it. It is a path of ha 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 ha. When you do ha ha ha, you don't be cheeky. Cheek is not highlighted. your mouth becomes highlighted. But when you fall for vanity, cheek becomes highlighted. See, that's why in normal language we speak of cheeky personality. So you decide which you want to be. You want to be cheeky or lofty? Both you can't do at the same time. Profound philosophy. You can't go after bhuma and alpam at the same time. Bhuma is infinite bliss. By adopting the path of nivritti, a path that leads you not to the fulfillment of your ego's desire, but to a process of ego effacement. That's called bhuma, infinite bliss. It is a bliss that's expressed by joyousness. Upanishadic, Vedic statement, havu, 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 ha ha ha. This is hasab, laughter. But alpam, the path of karmic enjoyment based on fruits of karma. Fruits of karma are little, they appear so big to human mind. So little they are absolutely insignificant. So insignificant that is more like mirage, it doesn't have any substance. That's called little, alpam. Sanskrit literature gives two terms, bhuma for infinite bliss, that's liberation. And of all worldly attainments which ultimately end up with transience, that's called alpam, little. And you can't have both at the same time. Either you stay with alpam or you attain liberation. You can't have liberation in one hand, alpam in the other hand. You can't, if you were in the garden, in your dream, eating a bunch of grapes, you can't do both things, wake up and still hold on to the grapes. Danikaha ubakaru arukhat kripanayi, hoi ki kheme kushal rotai. You can't be both. You can't be popular. Popularize yourself. I'm a dani. I'm a great charitable person. While being a miserly personality. You can't be both. A miser and a charitable person. You can't have both going for being a warrior in a battle and at the same time the expectation that you will not be inflicted with any injury. You can't have both. Chhadahu bachanu ki dheeraj dharahu, jani abalajmi karuna karahu. So Kaikeyi says, if you want to give up your words, do that. Otherwise, be strong, have patience. Do not go on weeping like helpless women. Women are always used for that. This is old style. तनुतीय तनय धामु धनु धरणी सत्य संध कहु तृण समबरणी. One who follows the path of truth. For such a person, there is no moha, no deluded love for body, for bodily relatives, husband, wife, son, daughter, house, wealth, possession. All these do not cause restriction on the path of one who is following that path that leads to liberation. This is the definition of vairagya. Vairagya is to develop detachment, to understand happiness is not coming from your body. Even the body should not be a basis of your attachment. Vairagya must be for body, for all relatives, for all your wealth, for all the earth. But when we say vairagya should be towards all, this requires a mature understanding. Literally, if you try to take them away, then you will not progress at all. First thing you have to do is to shake your body off. So it is not a literal turning away from all things, but a mental understanding that all things around you, their reality in them is God Himself. They are not your possessions from your ego point of view. Another good news, they are all your own self. All is Brahman. From that point of view, whomsoever and whatsoever you are contacting with, just like in your dream, whomsoever you are talking with, whatsoever you have your contact, all that is your own consciousness. Everybody goes through it, wakes up, and is never surprised that you have been all of that. And that's the profound reality. All things in this world, all names and forms, they are Brahman expressing in all this through Maya, cosmic illusion. Now, as you begin to understand that all this is divine, this does not break your relations. Your relation based on moha will be broken. But your relation will go on discovering divine in every person, and primarily divine in yourself. That is the subtle key to real civilization, real humanity, and real joyousness in the world. When you develop that, your attention goes towards serving God in others. The word is seva. Sa plus Iva. Sa is Satyam. Satyam Eva. Truth alone. Sanskrit word Seva. The type of service you give to everyone, in that you are discovering truth alone exists. It's big a little to find out how can it be possible. But any spiritual progress will not be possible unless your heart opens to qualitative way of treating others, not degrading way. Moha-based movement appears very charming, very endearing, but there is a cruelty behind it. All these points, when you hear, that's not something to be you can shake off immediately, but you learn to treat them through satsanga and through your daily practice. You learn to understand that what is a disease that should not be maintained. You live to cure it, not aggravate it. Moha is a disease, deluded love. मरम बचन सुनि राउ का कहु कछु दोष न तोर लागे तो ही पिशाच जिमि कालु कहावत मोर. And King Dasharatha, firstly, now he becomes deeply convinced that Kaikeyi is not joking. And then another way of developing a mental evaluation that due to Kaikeyi's demoniac personality, he has been put into trouble. That statement, that attitude he had developed first. But now he comes to a maturer understanding that there is no fault on the part of Kaikeyi. My own death, led by my own karma, is now going to swallow me up. चाहत न भरत भूपति पतहि भोरे विधि बस कुमति बसी जिए तोरे. And he says to Kaikeyi, Bharata has no desire for being the ruler of Ayodhya. But O Kaikeyi, led by my own negative karma, according to divine will, that kumati, that wrong understanding has dominated your mind. This is the result of my sinful karmas. All these statements are other way around from profound point of view. When situation for vairagya develops in life, then look at it from a manda buddhi, from a dull-wit mind. The mass mind is sometimes dull-wit. Dull-wit mind will look at it and say it is a very pathetic development. Advanced mind, what a wonder. Dull-wit mind, Let me give you a simple illustration. You were supposed to take a trip for a very joyous, entertaining life, and you miss the plane. Something happened to the plane. No, let me give you a little more coloring to it. With all the desire, you wanted to catch the plane, but due to some people around you who entertained you in such a way that you could not, you missed the plane. Now become angry with all those people, very frustrated. The whole day has passed shouting at everybody, fighting with them. By the evening you hear the news, the plane was kidnapped. No one survived in that plane. Now he looks at everybody and says, how gracious. So, same situation, seen through two angles, two aspects. That will explain to you why you are seeing all the pathetic situation from one angle. From an advanced angle, all this is allowing Rama to get into a process for destroying ignorance and all branches of ignorance that are the source and the basis for all miseries in the world. Without Kaikeyi, Rama wouldn't be Rama. सुबस बसी फिर अवध सुहाई सब गुण धाम राम प्रभुताई करी हई भाई सकल सेवकाई हो तिहुपुर राम बराई. And Dasharatha is saying that what you are planning will not succeed. Ayodhya will again become very joyous. Rama will be the ruler. And all the brothers will serve Rama. And all the three worlds will glorify Rama. That vision is there with Dasharatha. One more. This is going to happen. Tor kalank mor pachitau, mueh na mitihin na jaihi kau. But people will talk about your evil deed, and they will talk about the grief that I am experiencing. And that will not be deleted from history. So therefore, do what you want. Keep your face away from my face. Don't want to look at your face. जब लगी जियों कराऊं कर जोरी, तब लगी जरी का चुक्का सी बहोरी. As long as I live, folded hands, I tell you. Say nothing. Two booths contain all that is. There's nothing more to say. That's the result of vichar. Vichar movement, reflective movement is key. And when that movement becomes active, then what seems so pleasing to your mind, now your mind, that things are pleasing to your mind because the mind is childish. Vichar movement is making that childish stage move away, a higher stage to develop. But as long as we are looking at with the childish mind, vichar movement is a pathetic, tragic movement. And from a very broad point of view, a lesson to be learned. Life is not just one side joyousness, joy and sorrow, day and night, adversity and prosperity mix up in your life. And you become indebted to both. You learn very profound lessons through your adversity. And as well as your prosperity gives you profound encouragement. But if you are not spiritually mature or spiritually sensitive, then both degrade you. Prosperity makes you sullen-headed, adversity makes you limp, leg without legs. जब लगी जियों कहूँ कर जोरी, तब लगी जनि कछु कासी बहोरी. As long as I live, say nothing more. फिरी पछी तई हसी अंत अभागी, मारसी गाय नहारू लागी. You miserable wretch. You are going to regret. For your evil actions. You are going to kill a cow in order to get its guts. That also is a profound pun over. The scriptures are the cows. The gut is vairagya. To the limited mind, it seems anyone who emphasizes vairagya is going after the guts and not the joyous things the scriptures say. If you do this, you will get more sons and children. If you do this, you will get lots of money and happiness. Go after that, that's the real cow. Why do you go after guts? Neti. That's the guts of the scriptures. Nothing exists, nothing belongs to me. परे उड़ाऊ कही कोटि विधि, काहे करसि निदानु, कपट सयानी न कहती कछु, जागति मनहु मसानु. The king tried to persuade her in many ways. And finally saying, are you going to cause absolute destruction to all of us? And he fell down on the earth. But Kaikeyi, who is very clever in her plans, did not say anything, stayed completely Mauna Vrata. As if someone who is trying to succeed in controlling a spirit, preta mantra. This is called tamasic austerity. There are people who go into cremation ground and they sit in most miserable state. But they are told, if you continue unshaken and do your mantra, and the mantra will be some type of horrible bijaksharas. But tamasic worshippers, they want quick result, and the result is something negative. They want to hurt someone, they want to succeed in their evil plots. And for that sake, they stay in cremation ground and do all their japa, etc. Dasharatha is comparing Kaikeyi like that type of aspirants, seeking preta mantra, doing preta mantra. Rama Rama ratu bikala bhaiva bhualu, janu binu pankha vihanga behalu. The king goes on saying Ram, Ram, Ram. And he's as if a bird that has lost the wings. And in his heart, he is developing that wish. And the wish is, may there be no morning. Sun should just forget waking up. So if there is no morning, nobody will go to get Rama. Udau karahu jani ravi raghukul guru. Avadha biloki sulaho ihiur. O sun god, the guru of Raghukul, the line of Raghus, please do not rise. If you rise, you will see the entire Ayodhya inflicted with suffering, pain, sorrow. The king represented the high height of love, and Kaikeyi represented the height of cruelty. This ordinary view. Vilapata nipahi bhayau bhinusara, bina benu sankha dhuni dwara, padhahi bhat gun gavahi gayak, sunat nipahi janu lagahi sayak. Grieving all through his night. Ultimately, morning dawned, and according to the royal custom, very early in the morning, bards sing praises of the king, flutes, veena, some other musical display goes on to welcome the king. मंगल सकल सुहाहिन कैसे, सहगामिनी विभूषण जैसे. But all this joyous sound that was coming, because they are also celebrating Rama's coronation, all that had a contrary effect on the heart of King Dasharatha. All that was causing pain in his heart. And he gives a simile, what type of pain, just like old style tradition, when a woman lost her husband, she would enter into fire, sati pratha. But when she enters into fire, she would not keep all the ornaments on her body. The woman entering into fire called Sahagamini. One who is ready to enter into fire will not put on various ornaments. Or if she has ornaments, it will appear very crude. Kaikeyi's personality appeared very crude before King Dasharatha. That simple point. But in Ayodhya, people had kept their whole night without sleeping, because their great aspiration to see the king, Rama as king, and great joy in their heart. द्वार भीर सेवक सचिव कहीं उदित रवि देखी, जागे अजहुन अवधपति कारण कमनु विषेखी. There's a great crowd of royal attendants, ministers, and seeing the sun rise, they are all wondering, how is it King Dasharatha has not appeared? पिछले पछले पार भूप नित जागा, आजु हम ही बड़ू आच रजु लागा. The king used to wake up in the dawn before the sunrise. And today, on this joyous, most joyous day, he is nowhere to be seen. जाहु सुमंत्र जगावहु जाई, कीजिए काजु रजाय सुपाई. Oh, Sumantra, the minister of King Dasharatha, the closest person. Go and wake up the king. We are all waiting for his orders. गए सुमंत्र तब राउर माही, देखि भयावन जात डराही. Sumantra went to the royal palace, and seeing the appearance of the palace where Dasharatha and Kaikeyi were, the very appearance was terrifying, as if there is some type of a demon ready to bite him. धाई खाई जनु जाई नहेरा, मानहु विपति विषाद बसेरा. As if it was a residence of vipatti and vishad. Vipatti is opposed to sampatti. Sampatti is prosperity. Vipatti is adversity. And vishad, literally meaning poisoned food. So, vipatti and vishad, adversity and distress, both personified have taken the residence. पूछें को न उतरु देई, गए जहीं भवन भूप कैकेयी, कही जय जीव बैठ सिरुनाई, देखी भूप गति कयउ सुखाई. He asks others, nobody gives any answer. Then he approached where Kaikeyi and Dasharatha were, and having offered his adoration, Jai Jeev, glory to the great soul, Dasharatha. While he is bowing down to the king by uttering those words, but when he looks at the king, at his miserable state, he himself was gripped by shock. With this I will conclude. Om Shri Ramaya Namah. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukmiva Bandhanan Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kashchid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Ramaya Namah Shivaya.